the room max is out at 26 people. I don't usually say that because, you're lucky if you get 26 people on a live event. Most people will watch on the recording, so I applaud you being here because we'll do questions and answers at the end. So here we go. We are recording, and I'm going to show my screen. I'm going to start our little class with a nice testimonial about me, just so you know I'm the real deal, and then we'll go through a slide deck, just some top-of-mind ideas about social media, probably enough to overwhelm you. So what I want you all to do is have a notebook and a pen and paper. If you leave this little class with one actionable item to do that you can understand and implement, that is awesome. I do this class, well, I used to do it once a month, and I'm going to start doing it once a month again. It's just a free class. It's a give to the universe, especially this week. We had a fire in our house, in our laundry room, if you didn't hear. It was very scary, and we have a lot to be grateful for. So we're going to do this class once a month again, Tommy and I, and we're just going to share some great information, support the people we love who love us, and if you don't, you're still welcome here. Okay, so here we go. There's my screen, and here's our little testimonial.
On the phone. Mary focuses on social media training, and we're talking about Twitter, Facebook, et cetera, but we're really profiting from it. If you're not Mary Agnes, she is one of these silent giants who's out there. She's been educating and training for years, and she has an almost cult-like following. Both of them have remarkably great relationships with their customers and also fantastic reputations.
Okay, so I start with that because if you don't know who that is, you can see my cursor on the screen, I hope. That is Mike Koenigs on the right and standing live on the left. And the reason I show that is that he does not go out there endorsing tons of people. And I don't usually start the class with an endorsement. I just definitely want you guys to know that I'm the real deal, because social media, as you know, is like a very loud space. There's a lot of people in it. So I try and think of myself as a strategist and not a social media expert. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to start the slides. And I'm going to go through these slides for about 30 minutes. Don't get overwhelmed and worry. Well, if you're learning so much that you're overwhelmed, remember that's a good thing. You want to leave with one or two actionable items. I'm going to answer questions. Let me see if you can all see the chat. Here we go, opening the chat. Okay, so I'm going to put a little note, Mary Agnes here. So hopefully you can all see the chat at the bottom, somewhere in that little screen from GoToMeeting. And you can type questions there, and we'll answer them about halfway through. So what you're looking at now is a PowerPoint of what I call, well, the beginning of the PowerPoint. And the PowerPoint is the social grid and the 7 R's, how to run your social presence in 4 hours a week. Now, that might sound like a lot, but what we know in small business is most of us should be marketing our companies, they say, 40% of your time. So if you work a typical 40-hour week, I don't, and I know most entrepreneurs are going to be like me. They're going to do about twice that. But you should be marketing, even in a traditional 40-hour week, about 15 hours. So if we can cut that down to 4 or 5, right, if you're going to work a little slower, then this is a solid win, and the win is your time. So those are my credentials, and these are the spaces I want you to consider. My credentials are on the next slide. But 8 spaces I want you to think about as we go through these. There's YouTube, and I want you to think the trunk of your tree. Oh, go back. The trunk of your social media tree. So I'll talk to you about social media tree in a minute. And podcasting is another trunk. What that means is your content is going to grow out of that stem of a tree. And then we're going to cover blogging, Google+, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, meetup groups. We're going to cover quite a few things here just to give you a little taste of each. And the goal is, again, 1 or 2 things you can implement, and maybe a space you haven't tried before that you find interesting. Those are my credentials, and they're not even updated. I've got a few speaking gigs from 2014 that should be on there, and some new clients on the client list. I just signed one amazing new client that I love this past weekend. And so those are some of the authors I've worked with. So if you're an author, most of those books I launched on New York Times or Amazon, and most of them went to #1 in category. This one, The Virgin Diet, up here on the top left, She just launched her cookbook, #3 on the New York Times. So these are the 7 R's of social media, and this is where I think it gets confusing for people sometimes, and it's really tricky. The ROI, where you're building revenue, takes a little time. What will happen before revenue is you'll establish your relevance. You'll create, you'll create recognition. That's branded recognition. You'll build a rapport with your audience. You'll create strong relationships that can become JVs. And what that means is a joint venture partner or an affiliate partner who would share your products, services, or classes with their audience, usually for a revenue split. As you all know, I don't do that, right? I don't take a revenue split for the most part. ROI, for me, that's, results, right? For me, that's not necessarily revenue. It's always results. But I want to be clear what I want my results to be. Repeat customers and responsibility. So the 7th R of this list is one to take very seriously. Because here's what will happen to you, I have no doubt. You'll build an audience on social media. You'll go through all those other 6 R's. And then ultimately, people will turn to you. They will. You don't have to be an expert. No doubt what you teach is so confusing to people who don't know it yet that they will turn to you. And it's your responsibility to serve them. So think about that as you learn all this, because if you're not going to stand up for that responsibility, then step out of it before you build a social presence that's huge and that turns to you. Social media statistics. So this is a pretty powerful thing to know. Obviously, this is not only the fastest growing form of online activity, social media is probably the fastest interconnectivity of the human race ever. I can go on Facebook, search one of you, connect with you, and start a conversation with a total stranger faster than friends can connect. 2.8 billion social media profiles. Isn't that crazy? That's half the internet users worldwide, and it's a fair percentage of humans on the planet. All right, brand-related content. The reason I share that third statistic is brand-related means company. It means your product. It means what you're building. So this is obviously, this is Europe. And this is how I think about social media. And for any of you who've taken this course before, just bear with me, because if there are new people, and I know there are, this is what we're going to avoid. Social media can feel a lot like the 16-day tour of 18 countries in Europe. Did you ever do those bus tours way back when? And you had to know, 18 languages, 16 different sets of rules. What you can do in one country, you certainly can't do in another. You better know the cultural rules around Saudi Arabia. You better know how far they are different in Ireland. You better not drink a certain beer when you go to Spain. There's a lot to know. And social media has cultural rules as well. What's perfectly appropriate on Twitter is not appropriate on Facebook. What's acceptable in one space is a different language in another. So if it feels this way, that's okay. What we want to do is basically say that while there are portals from one space to another, they aren't connected. Facebook is a standalone universe. The same with Twitter. The same with Google Plus and YouTube. Each of these social spaces stands all on their own. So don't worry if you're trying to connect the dots and they don't seem to connect. They're not connected. It's just like, how Germany is next to France. But there's enormous differences between them. So we're going to go over some of those differences. This is the social media tree I was telling you about. Now I know I should go get a nicer slide made by somebody on Fiverr. Fiverr is a good thing to write down. It's fiverr.com. That's a space where you can get $5 jobs done by a great vendor out there in the universe. But I keep this slide really simple because at the bare bones of it, this is what your social media looks like. Your social media is a tree, and it's a naked tree. It's a bare, naked tree in the winter. And what you're going to do is you're going to grow it. And I'm going to show you what it looks like, and then I'm going to give you a 30-second meditation at the end. So your blog or video blog, right, a blog we create on YouTube starts the trunk of your tree. That becomes your posts on LinkedIn or content for your PowerPoints, which also gets shared on LinkedIn. Your blog is shared as a Facebook note, not just a profile post. You have your newsletter content, so you start to see everything is coming right from your blog, or better yet, your video blog. Your YouTube videos can come from your written blogs. So if you're like me and you've been on the internet for 5 or 6 or 7 years, and you've got blogs going back even 1 year, no one's reading your old blogs. Use them as scripts for YouTube videos that you create, and that is great content, and I'll tell you why when we get to YouTube. Meetup groups, event material. I'm going to tell you a little bit about meetup groups, but your blog is great material to build events around. Blog Talk Radio, that's a podcast space I like. Podcasts are fantastic content, and those old blogs, again, are written scripts for your Blog Talk Radio or podcast shows. And these little leaves, what do you think they are? They're your tweets. Those little leaves are your tweets. So we're back at this slide again, and I just want to paint a better picture. So this is what you're starting to build, right, this tree. But this is what it looks like when you have all of your fruit, your leaves, your grass. So now that we talked about the tree and you have an idea what it is, if you could indulge me, for 1 minute, I'm going to take you on a trip. What I want you to do is close your eyes. And if you've done it with me before, trust me, do it again. Close your eyes, and I want you to imagine a beautiful field of grass. It's one of those wide open fields. And the dirt and the soil and the defecation in the soil, right, the crap we go through in life, the rocks, all of that is your life experience. And it's what you know. It's your skills. It's your job history. Everything in that soil is yours, and you own it. If you never grew a tree, it's still valuable. It's you. But what you're going to do is you're going to grow this huge, solid oak tree. Solid. And it's a content stream. So you can think of it as a tree or as a river. But a tree is really easy to imagine, right? So you've got this big oak tree, and your blog or your YouTube video blog starts the trunk. And each large limb is a place you're rolling out content consistently. Consistent, engaging content. That means at least once a week in every space you choose. So you've got your blog as a Facebook note. I'm going to show you what that means. As a post to your LinkedIn groups. As an update on your Facebook wall. An update on your LinkedIn post. Content for your videos or your podcast show. A pin on Pinterest maybe. Whatever spaces you choose online, those are the limbs of your tree. The leaves are your tweets, right? I'm going to show you just basics about Twitter if you don't know anything. What really happens is all this beautiful fruit and butterflies and birds starts to hum around your tree. And if you look around in your mind's eye, what I want you to see is a human approaching. And they're approaching, and they're hot, and they're tired, and they're just looking for a place to rest. And they come and they sit under your tree. And it's a big old oak tree, so there's a lot of shade, right? You've got strong limbs and a lot of leaves, and they're going to hide under your tree from the hot sun. Think of the hot sun as ignorance, and your tree offers shade of knowledge. And then they look up, and there's a fruit, because your tree bears fruit, right? It actually produces something useful to the human race. And they lean up, they grab an apple, they take a big bite out of it. It's that like crunch of an apple, right? It's this beautiful, cool, nourishing, and it's so enriching to them that they're full. And they leave, because that's what humans do, right? We don't stay under the tree forever. We go, we explore other trees. But they know that your tree had fruit, so they come back again and again and again. And you know what they do? They bring friends. They say, hey, come on, play under this tree. It's big and shady. There's a lot of knowledge here. And there was a fruit. Oh, look, there's another fruit. So they take a bite. They hand the apple to a friend who takes a bite. And the next day, maybe somebody comes and they swing on a swing that they tied up to your tree. and they put a picnic basket underneath, and people start to come to your tree, and it gets to be very well known in the neighborhood. So that's what I want for you. I want you to have something amazing that the human race comes back to over and over. Let's talk about search engine optimization for a minute. I don't want any terms we use here to scare you. I'm going to explain every term. Search engine optimization is an algorithm. That means a puzzle. So when somebody goes to Google or Bing or Yahoo search and they search a phrase, there's a mathematical puzzle that tells us what to look at. So how does that puzzle get put together? How does each space decide what pages answer your search? It used to be based on keywords in Google, and to some degree it still is. So if you're a knitting expert, you're going to want to use the word knitting and needles and yarn in your posts and in your blog, in your videos. But now, none of that matters if you don't have a social grid. So this isn't me selling you my services, I promise. I've just taken a great new client, and that pretty much will fill this up for a little while. But what I do want you to know is that you must have a social grid. And if you don't understand what that is, basically, it's puzzle pieces. And it looks a little like this. Your social grid is each of these puzzle pieces. You're going to choose 4 or 5 spaces online socially to join and to participate in. So one of them might be Facebook, one might be LinkedIn, one might be Google, one might be YouTube. They're the places where you're building friends and connections, right? We see that up at the top. And I have to stop clicking on my slides. I'm so sorry. And who's talking about you. So you really want to have content that's so good, people share it. I want you to also remember that Google pretty much runs the world right now as far as online. That is the search engine most of humanity uses. So we want to really play with Google's search engine algorithm. And one thing to know is that Google owns YouTube. So video is one of the highest things you can do for your Google search engine. Video is huge. These are the spaces online, and you can see Facebook is still the #1 space, 61.8%. And this is a year old, so it's changing even now. And YouTube is 21.3%, and that's really shifted quite a bit. YouTube is much larger. You can see that Twitter and Pinterest and LinkedIn, all these other spaces are important, but nothing comes close to YouTube and Facebook. So this isn't from me. I go out and I check some really important stats. I choose the ones that I agree with. I compare them. This is very accurate. So I want you on Facebook and YouTube no matter what else you do. The only reason I don't want you on Facebook if you're not on there is if you're a financial advisor, because your industry will stop you. They will monitor what you do, and you're not really allowed to have a publicly marketing Facebook account. Let's talk about video, because that's what I want the trunk of your tree to be. I want all your video on YouTube. There are great places to have private video or classes you teach by video like Vimeo or Vidler, or there's just many, many places now. But I want you to have your public marketing videos on YouTube. You are your best ambassador. Face-to-face sells faster than anything else. You can ask an army of Mary Kay ladies, how do they sell Mary Kay and build this huge company, one of the largest in the world for skincare? In ShopRite, they'll turn to one another and say, hey, I love your lipstick. Would you like a sample? So face-to-face sells. It always did. It always will. But you cannot be face-to-face everywhere. So I want you, if you took one actionable item to do for me by the end of the week, I want you to go out by Sunday. I want you to shoot a YouTube video right on your camera, and I want you to post it on YouTube. And then I want you to reach out and send me a note that says, I did it, what's next? And that's how you get free mentorship. You do what I suggest, and you ask me what's next, and I will always answer you. These are important YouTube tips. Put up a complete profile on YouTube. Keep your videos short. Use your old blogs as scripts and tips. And in every single video, Ask your viewers to subscribe. I'm going to tell you something that isn't on here. I'm going to tell you this. And this is your mantra if you're female. Or I guess some men have this issue too. Do not let vanity and fear be a roadblock to success. Does that make sense? So let's see. Let's see if I can show you what I look like tonight. Because I have this like wonky, not so attractive evening going on. Da-da-da. Can I figure out how to do this? I think I can FaceTime you all and you would see what I look like. Hold on. Or I could just tell you that I'm like wonky, unattractive tonight. But the thing is that if I let that stop me, then you don't get the same intimacy, right? If you never see me talking to you, you will always, let's see, where is it? Dun-dun-dun. It's just the talking head, right? So if you're able to, you really want to have your classes live where people can see you and internal FaceTime. Oh, there we go. Well, you should be able to see me so much, a little scary. But, oh, there I am. Hi, everybody. So here's the thing. Do you care that I'm wonky, unattractive? All right, quick ones because it's FaceTime bowed out, which is great. So the issue is vanity and fear are not a roadblock, right? Vanity and fear are not a roadblock. What are they a roadblock to? Is it success? It's not. It's service. Do not let vanity or fear be a roadblock to service. So I don't care if you think you're fat. I don't care if you have no makeup. I don't care if you have no hair done. I don't care if you're bald. I don't care if you're cross-eyed. People will connect because they will feel and see your sincerity. If you're not sincere, well, shoot a different video about something you feel sincere about because this is a big deal. This is how you're going to serve people, right? Let's go back to the start. Here we go, current slide. So your name needs to be in your YouTube videos. Your name. So I want to get off of here a minute and I want to show you something. On YouTube, I'm going to search Mary Agnes, and things come up that have my name in them. You know what doesn't come up? Any videos I've done that don't have my name in them. The name has to go in the title. So you'll see all of my videos have my name. They also say best speaker. How arrogant is that, right? This woman thinks she's the best speaker. So you better have the chops to back up what you call yourself. I better be a good speaker. But what I want you to see is in the title of the video is Mary Agnes Antonopoulos. Why do I say best speaker in all the titles? Because what do you look for when you're looking for a speaker? What do you Google search? You Google search best speaker. You know what happens? I come up a lot. Best speaker. Let's type in NYC. And there I am. So there's one, there's another, there's another. I come up a lot for best speaker NYC. You know what happens if we go to Google and we do it? I'll come up. Of course, my Google would be different than yours. But try it on your own. Best speaker NYC, and I would be surprised if I don't come up. Because it's not a phrase people think to use, but it is certainly one that they search. Another tip, don't forget your name needs to go into your tags, and it needs to go into your description, okay? YouTube is indexable. So you can load your scripts or transcripts into the back end of your video. And remember who owns YouTube and how they work. YouTube is owned by Google. Google is developing voice recognition software, and they are going to index your videos so they are searchable in text. So repeat your keywords many times and put them out there in a way that Google can recognize them. Well, I'm having operating difficulties. Do you ever notice you never have a class that just doesn't have those little hiccups in it? Oh, dear. Well, bear with me, people, while I figure out. We may have to watch my slides like this, so sorry. So 5 ways to build an audience, and then we're going to be off of YouTube. I just want to cover the top of mind most important things for you to know. I want you to know that you can auto-share your videos from YouTube to Facebook and Twitter. All you do is go into the settings, click sharing, and then tell them, YouTube, share to LinkedIn, YouTube, share to Facebook, YouTube, share to Twitter. All it is a command. And I'm going to teach a YouTube class, and I'll show you how to do that another day. But for now, I just want you to know that it's possible. This is, I hope, my 2-minute tip of the day. Where is it? There we go. 2-minute tip of the day. This keeps them coming back over and over. If you don't want to do it every day, because you have to do a video every day to do this, right? Then do it on weekends and Wednesdays, WW. Weekends and Wednesdays are winning. That's your WWW. That's your direction. This is the formula. You share your name, your company's name, your website, what you do, and then your 2-minute script. End with your name, your company name, and your website, and I always end with my phone number. Yes, I give my cell phone out from stage and on video all the time. Am I worried people are going to harass me? No. I wish they would harass me. The real people don't call. People are so afraid to impose that they don't call and ask for support. I've gone on stages all over the country. I've had exactly 11 strangers call me for input, advice, strategic input, questions. I wish they would call. The last time I shared that, it was 10. It was 10 people. So number 11 called me the next morning and said, "Hi, this is Kristen. You don't know me. I'm number 11. I wanted to throw a party." So definitely, if you want people to reach out to you, you need to give them every means you have. And if you're worried about using your real cell phone number, I will show you what I use sometimes. If I'm in a place where I don't know everybody, it's ringcentral.com. Ta-da! Ringcentral.com is a space where you can sign up. I am not their affiliate. I do like their service a great deal. Recommend them a lot. For $25 a month, you can have an 800 number that has great service opportunities. You can have different conferences. You can do some recording. It's awesome. So that is a great space for you to utilize if you're afraid to put your phone number out there. The next thing I want you to know is about Rev.com. Rev.com, while you're shooting your videos, I want you to also go and I want you to have them transcribed. I'm going to show you what this looks like. We're going to log in as me for a minute. For $1 a minute, I can place a transcription order, and here I can either upload a file or I can simply give them a URL. Isn't that crazy? I could literally give them the www of my YouTube video, and for $1 a minute, they would transcribe it. So let's go find one. Let's go back out to YouTube. I'm going to go and choose one of my own videos. I'm going to go to Video Manager, and I'm just going to choose one. I'm going to grab, I could really grab anything, but here's a YouTube training class. So I'm just going to tell it, don't start talking. I'm going to grab the URL. I'm going to go back to rev.com, paste the URL. This is how easy it is. I'm going to say add. I'm going to say I'm finished. Now look, that was 60 minutes long, so it's $60. But if it was 5 minutes long, then it's $5. Is that crazy? Look at that. I don't want your YouTube videos that long. How long are they going to be? Do you remember? 2 minutes. The 2-minute tip of the day. Keep them short, and it costs you 2 or 3 minutes to get those transcriptions. Do you know what a 2-minute video equals? A 400-word blog. Well, if you're from New York, because I talk so fast. But no matter where you are, it's at least a 250-word blog. So your 2-minute video that took you 2 minutes to shoot is your blog. You have a video blog, and then you have the written blog. Isn't that awesome? Let's talk about podcasting for a minute. How much time do I have? Oh, we're halfway through. Oh, okay, this always happens. So we're going to go really fast, just covering a few things I want you to know top of mind. YouTube was the most important thing. Transcription on Rev.com, the second most important thing, because that little transcription becomes your written blog, your posts on Facebook, your tweets. You're just going to take that written transcription and manipulate it for every space. This is what I do for my clients. I use their words until I get to know and use their voice. I'm a ghostwriter, so I'm good at that. But in the meantime, I need their content. For 4 or 5 weeks, I'll use their own content. And after that, I can do content for them usually. But that learning process and where I'm building their brand, those transcriptions are gold. Podcasting. I like Blog Talk Radio the best. It's very effective. I'm going to show you what it looks like on my slides. Ta-da! And tell you the wins, and then I'll show you online. You can build an audience. It leaves an on-demand reservoir of content going back for years. You can easily create digital MP3s or tangible CDs that you hand out at conferences, and you can transcribe it to books or audiobooks and huge intimacy with the people that you interview. So I'm going to show you my favorite one. It's had 1 million downloads, Blog Talk Radio / All Access Radio. This is Kelly Richards, and all of this is Kelly's content going back for years. So when you Google Dick Wingate or Robert Fried or Franz Johansson, you know what comes up? Kelly's interview with them. So she's got brand association, Jim Guarino, Fred Goldring, Zach Zale, Linda Ronstadt. When you Google Linda Ronstadt interview, Kelly comes up. Is that great for her brand? You bet it is. Do I want that for all of you? You bet I do. Let's look at another one. Master Zhigang Sha, who I love immensely, Soul Healing Miracles. We can go to one little radio show and we can see some great work by associates of Master Sha. I wanted to show you this so badly, but I guess I'm not meant to. It's stopping me. Well, Master Sha has a huge population of divine channels who work with him, and these people put out chanting and blessings. So that's a really powerful thing to have on audio, right? That's why I mention it. They're chanting and meditations on a podcast. Who wouldn't take that to the gym or the car, right? Because what is audio that video isn't? It's portable. Video, you need a screen in front of you. Audio, you do not. Let me just see if I could get that show up for you once more, because I really love that work. I think for some of us who do classes and training, let's try once more. Blog Talk Radio / I think it's Soul Healing Miracles. There it is. So this is Master David Lush, who works with Master Zhigang Sha, who runs this organization that I like so much. Master David, okay. All of Blog Talk Radio starts with this advertisement first, but what happens, just what you need, Thomas, right? But as soon as that advertisement is over in about 12 seconds, there we go. So if I were to show you now, here's Master David. He'll introduce himself, and then
good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody around the world.
So first of all, he's greeting the world, because as a podcast digitally, this can be sent worldwide. All he has to do is copy the URL with a quick cut and paste and email it to anybody or Facebook it. So if I were to go to my Facebook, I can just paste that URL. There it is. I can switch it to a different picture, and I can say post. So I can share that audio with the click of a button. Isn't that what we want? I mean, we want our stuff to be shared with the click of a button. So we can also, grab this entire Soul Healing Miracles channel, and you'll see a library of content available. They're chantings and blessings. This is what I want for all of you. It's a collaborative space, so you can have other people there to support you. You can interview people. This is what I want for everybody. So you're building an audience. You're on demand, easy digital MP3s. That means digital audio you can share with the click of a button. You could turn these into books or audiobooks. Just send them to rev.com, and it creates interview intimacy. If I interview that young man, Master David Lush, does he build a strong relationship with me? He does. You know why? When is the last time somebody had a conversation where all they cared about was your answers to their questions? Especially in America, we bounce conversation back and forth. We all give input and attention. But an interview is focused on the other guy. So an interview is a powerful way for you to build your brand. Let's switch and talk about, we're not going to talk about Google+. It's a good space. I want you all to share content there, but we're going to talk about that in another class. Let's talk about Facebook for a minute. Facebook has a profile page, a fan, sometimes called a business page, a group, or advertising. Those are the 4 things you can do on Facebook, and that's it. You can share on your profile, that's your personal page, your fan or business, a group, or advertising. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your Facebook fan page. The plus is it's got a real-time reach to as many people as you like. The minus, 95% of people who like your page never see your content. The other minus, I want to show you where the updates go. I'm going to go to Facebook for a minute, and I'm going to go into my mail. So here we go. So this is my mailbox. You can see some cool little messages. That's really nice. You know what you don't see? Way up here at the top is Other. Other. And this is where the pages that I follow, their updates go in your Other folder. Did you even know you had a folder marked Other on Facebook? There's your inbox, and there's your Other. Other? A lot of spam goes in there, but also the updates to your pages. So if I scroll down here, I'm going to get updates from Mari Smith. Other experts that I follow go into the Other folder. Why? Why? Because Facebook wants you to have to pay to have your posts seen. So I'm going to take you behind the curtain to a page that I run. I've gotten permission to do this from the person. Don't worry. This is JJ Virgin's page. Now, her reach is only down so dramatically because she did a big launch last week. But if we look here at her page, how many people see her updates? Unless we boost the post from her page, right? We hover and choose boost. We say $10, give it a little boost. More people will see it, right? Let's go down and do that again so I show you a little slower. Let's share this recipe. Right now, 1,100 people saw it. I'm going to choose boost. I don't want to spend $150. I'm just going to choose $10. And look, it shows you. It shows you the potential to reach 5,700 people. Boost post, but I have to pay to do it. I have to pay to boost my posts. So I want you to use your profile as much as possible. Because if I want to boost this little advertisement I put for David Lush, I'll click promote, and it's $7 on your Facebook page. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that was so sweet. Look, she liked my picture. Thank you. I think it's a little chunky, but that's all right. But vanity is not a roadblock to service, right? It's $7 to sponsor a post here. To boost a post where we just were, you're going to have to pay for it based on how many people will see it. So if I wanted more people to see it, let's scroll down a little more. Let's say I had a post. Oh, here's another one. We're going to share somebody's shepherd pie recipe. I'm going to say boost post. And if I wanted 42,000 people to see it, it's $140, $150. For $600, I can get 200,000 to see it. So yes, if you have a good marketing budget and you have $600 to boost a post, go for it. But if you're like the rest of us, where $100 is a big deal, and maybe you're working very hard. I've been at conferences where I've said this, and how many people borrowed the money to go to the conference? That's a lot. So 95% of your people who like your page won't see your updates unless you boost them, and that costs you money. The other thing I want you to remember about Facebook is that you're building on rented property. They own the space. So I do not want you to build your pages and to spend a lot of money on Facebook because Facebook owns it. If they don't like what you do, they can shut you down. Does that make sense? I bet it does. I'm sorry about my slides. Okay. But it is a free class, so just sit back and enjoy it. Okay. So let's see. We've covered Facebook. Let's see what comes up next. This is all Facebook. So I'm going to skip some of this just to hit top of mind on other platforms you might need. Well, let me show you one other thing on Facebook, which I'm really famous for sharing. If you click on your page, you can post your blogs as notes. So instead of just sharing a blog there, I could put it out as a note. So what would happen if I went to, here we are, hold on, the More button, scroll down to where notes live. A lot of you don't even know this exists. Add a note, and I'm going to write just a quick thing from Master David, who would probably love the support anyway. A great meditation and chanting from Master David, L-U-S-C-H. I really like his work, right? So I hope you enjoy this. Please share. And I'm going to put the link. Then I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to start tagging people. Oh, you know what? Let's put a picture. I think I have a picture of Master David somewhere. So this is literally how long it takes for you to share your blog in a much more meaningful way, right? Not just share it on your wall. In this case, I'm going to get it on 25 walls. So I'm going to share it with people that I know would enjoy this. My husband, my daughter. I'm going to share it with some of the people from that organization. Let's see, who else? Master Elaine. Oh, my friend Elaine Courtney. So I could tag 25 people just like this. I'm going to tag myself. Always remember to tag yourself on a note or it won't come up to your wall. And then hit publish. And here's what happens. I'm going to go to my wall. Sorry. And there it is. Isn't that awesome? So I know that at least those 25 people are going to see it. Now, you want to be respectful. We don't just want to throw spam on someone's wall. But do I think Elaine Courtney Haas might appreciate a blessing today? A meditation from a great leader? You bet I do. I definitely think she would. So I tagged her, and it comes up on her wall. She'll get a notification, and everybody will really enjoy it. So that's what I wanted to teach you on Facebook. How much time do we have? I'm going to stop you guys. I'm going to see if we can take questions because I know this gets overwhelming really fast, and I can answer your questions in real time and actually show you. So I'm going to unmute you all, mute your own phone if you can, and unmute if you have a question. So first we're going to check the chat. I don't see anybody in chat. Unmute you all. So it's okay. You're all unmuted. Unmute you all. So it's okay. You're all unmuted. Jump in if you have a question.
Mary Agnes.
Yes.
I apologize. So forgive me.
You know what? Hold on 1 second. I can see who's talking. That's Reverend Dr. Louise Diana. I'm going to unmute just you. If you guys are on Skype, it makes a crazy echo. Unmute Dr. Diana. Hi, Dr. Louise Diana.
How are you?
I'm good. Say your question again for us.
I have a question. Which would you recommend, a paid ad or a boost?
I would recommend a boost, and I'll show you why. Once your post, let me go back to JJ's page to show you. Once your once your post has a few likes, it costs you less. So don't go for a paid ad. Put whatever you want to share up as a post. Wait for a few people to like or share it, like here. 10 people liked this, 13 people shared it. Now if I go to boost, it'll be less expensive to reach more people. And it'll be more effective. So I'm going to click boost. The other thing is it'll show up in a larger way on their home screen. It'll show up larger than an advertisement. So if I go to home where I would see those paid ads, right, it'll come up in the stream because it's boosted. And now, of course, there's always a boosted post here, except right now that I want to show you one. But the truth is that it's larger and it's more effective and it's less expensive. So when you can, go for a boost instead of a paid ad.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, absolutely. Any other questions while you've got me?
I'm just taking it all in.
Yeah, it's just, you know what? This is a good class to just give some good ideas. So
Yes,
hold on
absolutely.
yeah, right? So I'm going to unmute you all, and if one of you starts talking, we'll mute everybody.
Hey, Mary Agnes, this is Susan Mead.
Hi. Hold on one sec. Oh, Susan Mead. Hold on a second. I think. Let me see if I can find you. There we go. Unmute. Susan Mead, is that you?
Yes, ma'am, that's me.
Susan Mead, how are you?
Fabulous.
I'm so happy to talk to you. So, tell me your question.
Well, you know what? I took a whole lot of notes. So what I heard as the key takeaways is YouTube is the number one critical action item that we need to be putting video up. And that 2 minutes a day or the Wednesday weekends ritual would be a cool thing. And then if we go to rev.com and transcribe it, where are we going to put the transcription? What do we do with that transcription?
So that transcription, let me show you. So I'm just gonna walk through how you do this. You shoot a YouTube video on your phone.
Right.
and then you upload it just like this. It's so easy. So for any of you who don't know how to do this, we'll get a little class out there on how to do this. But you select files to upload, you find it on your desktop, and then you just load the video. Then you're going to title, tag, really easy stuff. The reason it matters so much, obviously, is for Google. The revs.com transcription, I'm going to go back to that tree. I'm going to show you. Where is it? Where's our tree? Here. So your video blog, the trunk of this tree, gets transcribed. You put it up as your blog, your real blog. So you're going to use that transcription as your written blog.
Awesome.
Then you're going to use one paragraph of it as your Facebook note with a link to go to the rest and see it on your blog, Susan. Because we want everybody going back to your website over and over, or your book page, or your Amazon page. So like I put, Master David's note, right? Let's go back there. I'm going to go back to here. It links them over. So you open the note, and then it's got a link right back to Blog Talk Radio. In your case, because your book is going to come out soon, we want that link to take them to Amazon. So we're going to send them to your Amazon book. Excellent thing for you to do. Or before the book comes out, we're going to send them to your blog so that you can start to capture their email addresses and even serve them a little bit. Your material is so inspiring. Somebody might write and say, I'm having a really hard time. Life is so dark, and I'm not sure I want to live anymore. And you will get stuff like that with what you're writing about, especially. Just so everybody knows, Susan's writing a beautiful book. It's a faith-based book on surviving grief and loss, and it's specifically a Christian faith-based book. So I don't think it'll take long for people to reach out who are in trouble. So as you start posting to your blog, people will comment, and you're able to be in service to them almost immediately. Like by tomorrow, you could be doing this.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really powerful, and it's really fast. Angela McGlynn, a friend of mine, just asked a question, how do you make sure people see your video? So let's go to YouTube for a minute. I'm going to go over to my videos. I'm going to go to Video Manager. Like I've got a big library of stuff, so just ignore it all. I'm going to go to here we go. So this is a cool little lesson that I taught on YouTube. It's on my homepage. Some of you might have seen it. I've got the audio turned off, so you don't have to listen to it. But now this is advertising, so I have people clicking to go to my space on my video. And this video is really cool. It's got some great stuff on it. How do I make sure people see it? Let's scroll down here. I'm going to click Share. I'm going to click Facebook. This is it. It's the click of a button. And ta-da! Share. Now it's on Facebook. I'm going to click Twitter. 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Now it's on Twitter. Well, I'm not signed in right. I could just click sign in and tweet. And then it goes out. Just like that, it's done. Let's go over here. Let's go for LinkedIn. Ta-da! It's 1, 2, 3. Now watch this cool thing. You guys will love this. I can share it as an update. I can post it to my groups. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to start typing a letter, and I can choose any group. Type the next letter, B, Books and Writers, or C, Consultants Network. And I can put in a title, Great Video Training. And then I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to click Share. And that got shared with those 3 groups on LinkedIn. What if I shared it with 50 groups? Pretty powerful stuff. So Susan, if you get out there and you make those videos where you're inspiring people and you're saying, this is what I went through, and this is me today, right? That laughing me, right? If you show that you can get through that and you can have joy again, you share that with 50 groups, all the members of those groups, Susan, I think that would be very powerful. And I'm here to help you. Yeah.
Awesome. Love that.
Any more questions before I click away from you?
No, but you're going to teach me about the groups that I need to connect with, right?
I am. We're going to do a specific, just like this, where we can see each other's screen, and I'm going to show you what the groups are. We're going to make some choices together.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's why I want you all to have a strategist in your corner, but it doesn't have to be me. There are a lot of us out there. And if you don't have one, you can always ask a question. Quick questions are free. All right, I'm going to unmute you all and see who else might have a question.
I have a quick question. See who that is. Dr. Louise, is that you? I know, it's really hard because of the Skype echo. Okay, I have unmuted you. What was your question? Okay, I'm doing my first Google Hangout on Monday. Hopefully my voice will be back before then. Now, the goal is to do the Google Hangout and then download it to my YouTube too.
Right. Do you have a Mac or a PC?
A Mac.
So I'm going to answer your question, and not everyone's going to understand this. It's going to feel really sophisticated.
Oh boy.
If you have a Mac, it's really easy. So I'm going to go to google.com. I'm logged into my Gmail, which is what you need to use your Google Spaces like YouTube and G+. I'm going to click my name, which puts me into my G+ account, right? And I'm going to click over here. I want to make sure I'm actually in my space. Continue to Google+, sorry. And here we go. On the right, if you see Hangouts here on the right, I could invite somebody to a Hangout. So these are the Hangouts I've been invited to recently, or I could start a Hangout. So I'm going to start a video Hangout. There we go. And it's going to let me invite people. So I'm going to include a message. Oh, here we go. Now I get to see how creepy I look tonight. So I'm going to invite my friends. I'm going to invite my family because there's only one of you. I guess I can invite my friends. And then I'm just going to say start. And here we go. So there I am. No makeup, me, a little scruffy, sorry. And that's it. My post has been shared, and the whole world has been invited to this Hangout. And then if you want to record it, right, there's ways to record it in here. Turn camera off. But do you know what I do? Because I have a Mac, I use ScreenFlow. So I'll click ScreenFlow. It'll open up, and I'll tell it new recording. And then I'll tell it to record from FaceTime camera. There it is. And that's what'll happen. So you probably have that software, ScreenFlow, and that's the way I want it.
Somebody is already doing it, and all they're doing is interviewing me, so I don't have to take care of any of the technical pieces.
Well, isn't that lovely? You don't have to worry at all.
It is. It's great. It's great. But you pointed out something very interesting. My Google Plus site is Yoga Priestess because I've been teaching yoga for so long, and that's what most people know me for. Should I change that and use my name? That was a very interesting point.
It's a tricky thing, right? It's a tricky thing about branding. So do I go out there as Mary Agnes Antonopoulos, which nobody can spell? Do I go out as Rockaway Writer, which was my first company? These are really specific to your brand, but I think Yoga Priestess is beautiful. It's very humble. I know that you know what I mean? And it's very specific to your spirituality and your love for yoga. I think it's a great name, so I wouldn't change it.
Okay, thank you. That was really an important thing that you brought up, and I didn't know where to go with that.
Absolutely, and that's an important question for everybody. I'm just going to turn this off or it eats up all your memory. I'm going to say, the recording, stop recording. There we go. So this is an important thing for everybody to know. Your brand is your identity. You want to make decisions now if you can about your brand. You want to make good decisions, and you want to, don't see, what is it doing? There we go. If you can make those decisions now and stick with them, you have a brand that has a growing identity, just like a person. Over years and years, more people know your name. If you change your brand up a lot, it gets confusing for people. So make decisions now that you can stick with if you can. But if you decided that you were going to move into a different world, we all Sonny Bono a lot, right? Sonny Bono reinvented himself. Of course, we know who he was when he started out, and then later he was a restaurateur, and then later he was the mayor. So it's okay that Sonny Bono is his brand, and it's okay that he changes it up throughout his life. You're not married to it. We can always build a new brand online.
Okay.
I'm going to unmute. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. Oh, you were going to say something else. You were going to say something else. Go ahead.
Yes, and I was just going to say that I'm gearing the Google Hangout to announce my book that's coming out. So the tags that she put today were the title of the book, because I want to establish the title of the book also as a brand.
That's perfect. That's a perfect thing to do.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It's also a tricky thing to do. It forces you to have to, at the very least, park your titles of your book. So I'm going to show you something else. Here on Facebook, we went out and we parked JJ Virgin's titles. So, Virgin Diet Cookbook, we parked it. We got a URL for it, right? The Virgin Diet Cookbook. And I've done it for other clients who launch books also, some of them. Some of them don't prefer to do it this way, but it's a very good thing to do. It protects your social URLs, right? That's your social, facebook.com/The Virgin Diet Cookbook. If I go to Twitter, we've saved other things that we don't even use. We've just parked them. Park the names of your children. You want twitter.com/Katharina if your daughter is Katharina. You don't want anybody else to be able to use that. So there it is. It just sits there. All I've done is park it. She might want to tweet someday or not, but I don't want anybody using her identity but her. So go out with all your kids. Angela McLean Morrison, this is for you. Go grab all the social URLs for your children. Grab their websites. Grab the www.maryagnes for your kids, right? So I want www.com/Katharina. You know, Katharina.com. I want their identities available for them because the social world is getting as crowded as the real world, you know? So that's it. That's it, my loves. I'm going to unmute you all, and see if anybody else has any questions. Does anybody else have a question?
Unmuted.
Does anybody else have a question? All right, I'm going to mute us again. I'm going to go back and just teach one or two more things, and then I guess we'll have to schedule next month because it just goes so fast. I don't know how the time flies by so fast. So we covered podcasting. We covered a little bit about Google Plus, right? Because somebody had a question there, so always ask your questions. LinkedIn. Let's take a look at LinkedIn in the real world, not at my slides. Let's go and just take a good look at LinkedIn because I want to show you one or two powerful things you're probably not doing. So for those of you who know me well, you probably know I'm going to say to put video on your LinkedIn profile. So let's look at my profile. Ta-da! There I am, kitty patootie. All right. Let's scroll down. There are my videos. There is my little answer to my Koenigs. But hold on. Let's let you hear it.
Hey, Mike. Mary Agnes. I just wanted to send you a quick message.
Now, why is that on my LinkedIn profile? I'm sending Mike a video message. Why? Because the fact that I know Mike Koenigs is a really big deal. He's awesome. Brand elevation. With his permission, it's there. His testimonial is over there somewhere, too. This is not even a video. This is a PowerPoint of a presentation that I did at IBPA. It's available to share. You can download it. It's a lot of these slides, some different ones, but it's truncated. It's shorter. So you can go into my LinkedIn. You can download that presentation. This is my profile. You want a picture with a close-up smiling face. You want your headline, not your title. It does not say Chief Marketing Officer of Viral Integrity there. It says what I do. These are phrases people are going to search for. They're going to search for ghostwriter. It has the area I live in. And yes, I did claim the social URL, Mary Agnes. Why? Because it's me. I want to own my social spaces. Those URLs are powerful. I don't want people to search Mary Agnes and find a different one. I like to speak and teach, so I put those up there first. Let what you love be the first credential people see. Make a statement about yourself that speaks to your soul, not to your actions. Your soul is a big deal. So I say dynamic, beautiful freelance writer because that's like my spirit. Scroll down, and then there's all your credentials for your jobs. But at the top, your headline, your name with your maiden name in brackets if you're a woman, grab your social URL, and put some video and PowerPoint on there. These are great things to do. Ta-da!
So I think there's probably a good amount of people.
So this is me actually teaching at the podium. Here's the lesson. Don't leave the water bottle on the podium when you're teaching. Put the water bottle at the bottom, because if somebody's taping it, it looks like what? I don't know, I'm advertising Evian or something. So those are just a few tips for LinkedIn to take away for today. Definitely if you have a book, because a lot of my followers do, I do not have a book, scroll down and add it. So you can add it to your profile. We can go to Edit Profile, and over here on the right, you can add many, many things. Honors and awards, test scores, courses, patents, certifications, volunteers, and somewhere in here we'll see publications. So do the up and down search, find publications, and add it and your book. Be as specific as you can. It asks for your ISBN. If you've got it, put it in. And if you don't worry about it. I'll show you some more in a specific class on LinkedIn another day, but I just wanted to give you a few tips on each space that we love. We didn't get to cover them all. What I know is that 1 hour in, no matter what we've covered, it starts to feel like, oh man, I need a new notebook and a new pen, and there's a lot, and I can't breathe. So keep breathing, and here's the meditation I like to end with. It's a story. So take a deep breath. I want to tell you a story, very true story. I try and speak at industry conferences a lot. I speak at other conferences, but at other conferences, people are selling their wares, right? So everybody wants to know what I'm selling. And I have to convince them all that I'm there in service first. And if somebody's a great fit, maybe I'll take one client out of a crowd of like 600 people. Industry conferences, nobody's selling, so I just get to show up in service and be useful. At the last industry conference I taught at, a woman came up to me after the third class I taught. I noticed her in the first class, and because she was elderly, and I love the elderly, I have a passion for elderly, I made eye contact with her a lot. So she came to the door of the second class and said, I didn't sign up for this one, but do you think there's room for me? And I said to her, well, if there isn't, you sit up here right in the front with me, and we'll pretend you're part of the show. That's all. By the third class, quite a few people were doing exactly that. And in fact, sure enough, there wasn't room for her. So I reached out to a man in the front row and said, I'm sorry, would you let my grandmother sit here? She's going to videotape my presentation. Could I ask you to stand in the back? And I'll give you a gift from me at the end as a thank you, and I'll recognize you publicly. And of course, he didn't dare say no, right? I sort of put him on the spot. But the old woman sat in the front row, and she watched me teaching as if it were looking at a brave new world, and she didn't know the language. But she showed up for 3 classes. At the end of the third class, she came up and said, I'm 80. I'm 80. Do you think I could really learn this? And I said to her what I want to say to all of you. Yes, I know you can learn this. If you were a Martian who landed in Yankee Stadium, and you've never been to Earth, and you don't know anything about baseball, if you stood there and watched the game for a while, would you know what to do? You would know that the focal point of that game was to hit the ball with the stick. And even if you were an old Martian, even if you were 80, it might take you a few tries, but could you hit the ball with the stick? I think you could. Now part of what you need to know is that there's no enemy team. There's no opponent in social media. Everybody loves you. They are your friends and your fans and your family. So there's nobody throwing 90-mile-an-hour balls so you can't hit it. You've got the old coach from softball. He's softballing to you. He's soft pitching to you. And you're going to hit the ball with the stick. Do you know what to do next? I think you do. You've been watching the game a few minutes. It's not that complicated. Social media is basically made for simple people. It looks complicated, but play around with it. You'll know to run to first base. Will you fall once? Maybe. You're 80. But will we help you up? We will. Will we help you get to first base? We will. Will you do it 2 or 3 times to learn how to do it better? You will. Here's one thing to remember, though. You do not get a point at the crack of the bat. It's not how baseball works. You will have to move around all the bases. You will have to practice and learn enough that you can hit the ball and run around all the bases in order and cross home plate, and then you get your point. The point is in the follow-through, right? The point isn't when you set up your Facebook page. The point is, hey, There's Holt. I can see you, Holt. Oh, we lost him. He turned his camera on for a minute. Well, that is my favorite new person in the world. The point is that you can absolutely learn this, and you can absolutely do this. And if you need somebody to show you the bases, I'm here. My husband and I are happy to help you. We are happy to serve you, and we won't send you an invoice without a really formal agreement. Questions and answers are free as long as you can do it in under 5 minutes. My phone number, if you've got a pen and paper, is 845-238-0018. And if you'd like to be the 14th person that calls me after handing the number to thousands, I will applaud you and give you some good free advice. All right, you guys, that pretty much ends tonight's class. I try and keep it to the time frame I say so that people don't get overwhelmed and not come back the next time. So I love you guys. Yes, if you send me your YouTube videos, I will give you some free time. We can talk about your brand for 15 minutes, and I'll give you specific advice for you. I promise not to laugh. The truth is that vanity and fear are roadblocks to service. They're not roadblocks to success. You can't serve anybody. You guys are building great brands. You're building important things. You're writing books that will outlive you. Legacy work. So let's make sure that it reaches a few people that need it. Like I talked about Susan, or I talked about some of Master Sha's people. These are people who are making a difference in the world and who are helping people literally survive the hard times. So you don't know. You don't know that even the product you're selling or the MLM company you're building, all of that saves lives. People have hope when they have income. So I don't take any of your work lightly. And I'm very grateful you're in my life. And I close this with a message of love and appreciation. So thanks for your time, everybody.